From Aleppo in Syria is France 24's Andy Hilliar, who's just returned from Idlib. Your team, having just got back from the Idlib province, which of course has been run by Hayat, Tahrir, al-Sham in the last few years. Just take us through what you saw.
That's right. Idlib, of course, a stronghold of Hayat, Tahrir, al-Sham since 2017. And the residents we spoke to there told us they were very proud of their city. They said they were proud of having constant supplies of electricity and not suffering blackouts like other parts of Syria. They were proud of having free Wi-Fi everywhere. One person even telling us that he thought Idlib was more developed than the rest of Syria. There is, of course, a very strong Turkish influence everywhere too. Some shops only accepting Turkish lira as a form of currency. It is also a very austere place, a very conservative place. Most women we saw on the streets were wearing the full veil, and most students we spoke to as well had very conservative viewpoints. One young lady telling us she thought that the teaching of the Quran should be made compulsory in schools. Another young student telling us that he thought women shouldn't be allowed to wear makeup and that the rules in Idlib should be progressively rolled out across the rest of Syria. Ominously, one young man at a marketplace calling for revenge, appearing to call for revenge against the people who supported Assad's regime. And this is all, of course, very significant because Syria's new government has its roots in the Salvation government that was set up in Idlib. So the attitudes that you see in Idlib, what you see happening in Idlib may very well provide us with an indication of how things may unfold across other parts of Syria in the future.
So how do people in Idlib view HTS, particularly keeping in mind that they've been governing the province since 2017?
Absolutely, and the other thing to keep in mind, Annette, is that many people who live in Idlib, in the city and in the surrounding province, are actually displaced from other regions of Syria. So they've suffered years of war, hardship, displacement. Many of them live in camps. So that first and foremost, they see Hayat Tahrir al-Sham as liberators who brought stability to their region and to Syria after more than a decade of civil war. We didn't find any open critics of the group. That doesn't mean that there aren't any critics of the group. It may simply be that they're too scared to criticize the group for fear of reprisals. There have been protests in Idlib that were repressed several months ago. And we did also speak to a representative of Idlib's government at the Ministry of Media. He was a very well-spoken, media-savvy official who insisted that Idlib's circumstances are particular, that every region in Syria is different, and that there's no reason that the system of government in Idlib had to serve as a model for the rest of Syria. But this is a dilemma for Hayat Tahrir al-Sham because the challenge for them now is to set up a system of government that's acceptable to all Syrians without alienating their fundamentalist base in cities like Idlib.
And the big question, Andy, of course, is the minority groups. What about them? Are they reassured by HTS's promises to protect them?
Well, that's right. Well, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham have repeatedly insisted that minority groups will be protected. Here in Aleppo, since they captured the city, they've held 2 meetings with representatives of Aleppo's Christian community to reassure the city's Christians. But as our team found out, not everyone is reassured. Take a listen to our report.
In front